Let's talk through a few more strategies for factoring. The next one that we're going to talk about, so it would be the fourth strategy, is factor by grouping. Most kids like this one. So let's do a first problem here. X cubed, let's do 3x cubed, minus 6x squared plus x minus 2. So what you'll notice with factor by grouping is you have four terms. So I'm going to split these four terms into two parts. And always I'm going to keep the sign between the two parts. So I'm going to look at the first part and see what they have in common. They have a 3 in common. And they have an x squared, so I'm going to factor both of those out. What's left here is just an x minus 2. Notice on the next part they don't have anything in common, so I'm going to factor out a 1. And what's left is x minus 2. Now I'm going to look at the two parts again and see if these two parts have anything in common. And they do. They have an x minus 2 in common. So after I pull in an x minus 2 here and pull out an x minus 2 here, I write in parentheses what's left. 3x squared plus 1. So that is factored. This times this would give me this. Let's do another one. Let's do x cubed minus 2x squared minus 9x plus 8. And if this looks familiar, sorry, that's 18. If this looks familiar, that's good because we did this a lot in first semester. You're going to have to know how to do this in this next unit. So I'm going to look to see what they have in common. And again, I'm going to keep the sign between them. These two have an x squared in common. And then I'm going to write down what's left. They have an x minus 2 left. What these have in common is a 9. Now, when I write what's left in here, I have to account for the fact that there's a negative out here. So negative 9 times x would give me 9x. Negative 9 times negative 2 would give me positive 18. So now I'm going to look at the two parts again. What do those two parts have in common? They have an x minus 2 in common. And then I'm going to write in another parenthesis what's left, which is x squared minus 9. This one's actually interesting. It factors again because these are the difference of two squares. So x minus 2, and then that factors to x plus 3 and x minus 3. So there are three factors that make that one. Let's go to the next kind of factoring, which I call factoring a trinomial. And this is probably the kind that most people think about when they think about factoring. X squared plus 5x plus 6. Whenever we did these earlier, we started with easy ones like this. And we tried to think of two numbers. We knew this was x and x because that's x squared. And we're doing the reverse distributive. So I tried to think of two numbers that multiply to give me 6. 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. Then I tried to pick the pair of numbers that would add to give me 5. So I picked 2 and 3. Because this would give me 3x, and this would give me 2x, which would make 5x. And the signs need to be positive because a positive plus a positive is a positive, and a positive times a positive is a positive. Let's do another one. Let's do x squared minus 5x minus 6. So this one looks similar, but the signs are different. So that's going to change the problem up a bit. This time when I factor, I have to account for whenever I multiply this times this, I have to get a negative. So the signs are going to be different. So this time I want to choose 1 and 6. Here's why. This would be 6x, and this would be 1x. And if one of them has to be negative, I want the 6 to be negative because that would give me negative 5. So I have a negative and a positive. Probably the more difficult kinds of problems are the ones that look like this. And the reason this one's more difficult, because unlike the first one, where I had to put an x and an x, this one we have options. This doesn't have to just be x and x. It could be 2x and 3x, or 1x and 6x. So I taught you the strategy to kind of write out your numbers here before you start guessing and checking. And then the numbers that go here and here multiply to give you 12. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And then I always try to guess and check with the numbers that are closest together first. So I would probably start this with 2x and 3x. And then over here, I would probably either choose this one or this one. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to try 3 and 4 first. And then I'm going to check 8x, 9x. Is there any way that 8x and 9x could give me 1x? There is, if the 9 is positive and the 8 is negative. And that would work. Positive 3 times negative 4 would not work. What if you chose different numbers first? What if I had put the 4 here and the 3 here? If that was the case, these would not add up to give me that number, and I would have to keep trying different numbers until I found the combination that worked. We've done this before. This is just a review, but if you have forgotten and you need me to send you extra videos, please don't hesitate to email me.